Hello and welcome to Africa Today. I am Mike Okwoche. It is now 53 days since the lives of more than 200 schoolgirls changed after they were abducted by Islamic sect Boko Haram in northeast Nigeria. On April the 14th, insurgents attacked the government school in Chibok and left charred remains of dormitories and took the schoolgirls away from their parents and the community with no date of their return. Now, from conspiracy theories to outright condemnation, reactions within and outside the country continue to trail the incident, which some say is unprecedented in Nigeria's 100-year history. What do you think should be done to bring back the abducted girls and put an end to activities of Boko Haram in Nigeria? You can talk to us on Twitter at TVC Africa Today or send an email to africatoday@tvcnews.tv. We'll take this report and Africa Today continues. Thanks for joining us.
The children were the first to be chaperoned in. 3 of the Chibok girls who fled as they were being driven to the Boko Haram camp have been covered to protect their identity and enhance healing from the trauma which the 14th April experience has inflicted on them. 22 mothers of girls still in captivity followed suit, looking very much in distress. With the help of civil rights organizations Omoluabi Network and Gabasawa Women's Organization, they've gathered to openly discuss their woes in Lagos, a place, though thousands of miles away from their home in northern Nigeria, they consider safe enough to play host to them.
If the governments are really to help us, really, they know what to do themselves. We don't have to tell them what to do. Either to release their prisoners or to make something between themselves with these people. So think that they are having discussion with them. So they know what to do. If I see it's their own children that is missing, will they continue to stay like that?
Kucheli Balami, a women's rights activist in northern Nigeria, says Africa's strength should be harnessed to conquer Boko Haram, which thrives behind the mask of religion. Emotions soar, and many of the heartbroken women began to sob.
Suffering. We're begging the president. We're begging the international world to come and help us. Have mercy on us. Please, we are begging. It's not about me. It's not about my children. It's for everybody. Please.
United States Congressman Louis Gohmert says at this point, the Nigerian government must tackle terrorism heads-on and expose members of the terrorist organization whose identity it may know but is not disposed to revealing.
The Nigerian government needs to realize that unless they stop Boko Haram, that there will be great damage done to all peace-loving Muslims in Nigeria. And this could accelerate into a religious war that doesn't need to happen.
Right, several years ago, Boko Haram began its cultural and religious campaign decrying Western education and trying to bring Nigeria under the shadow of Sharia law. At that time, it was seen as a small band of fundamentalists not to be taken seriously. But today, that story has changed completely. Now, joining us to look at the latest developments in bringing back the abducted Chibok girls, we have Japheth Omojuwa, a blogger and a social media entrepreneur. Japheth, it's good to have you in our studio again. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Right, and as the show progresses, we'll be linking up on film with Kayode Ogundamisi, a Nigerian-born British journalist. Will be joining us as we go ahead. Now, let's start this way. There has been assurances from government. There have been moves to collaborate and partner with the agencies and other governments, as the case may be. But 53 days and still counting. What has changed? Has anything changed from the way it used to be and the seeming moves to bring back the girls and so on?
The only thing that has changed is the fact that the hope that we had that used to be much bigger because of the sort of news we heard, foreign guys coming in, bringing drones and all that, that has reduced. So for every new day that we awake to, that we don't get to hear the news that these girls have been brought back home and alive, each new day sort of cuts down on the size of our hope. I think that's what has changed, which means that things really have gotten worse. It doesn't look like we are any way closer to having these girls rescued.
All right, now there is this feeling. We know that several years ago, the president came to say that he made a statement that they know those who are behind Boko Haram, as the case may be. And up to now, the feeling amongst Nigerians, if the government knows those who are behind this, how is it difficult for the government to take care of this and handle it outrightly?
If the president said it, then it's not something to be taken too seriously, because the president has said a lot of things that have more or less looked like he was just talking and not essentially speaking from known facts. He said at the time that, for instance, we're going to grant jobs to the victims, to families of victims of those who lost their jobs at the NIS protest. 2-3 months counting, nothing has happened. They said they were going to treat victims of the Abuja and Nyanya blast. As I speak to you, I know people that had to fend for themselves. So when the president said, and he has also come to say that, for instance, when he said that people in his government, that they had people in government that were responsible for Boko Haram, he later came to say that they did not mean that. So let's take whatever the president says on these issues with a pinch of salt.
All right, but he made a statement recently that from the latest strategies being put on ground, that Boko Haram will soon be history. So are you saying Nigerians shouldn't believe in that?
According to what the president said, blackouts would be history in Nigeria by June of 2014. And this is June, and I can bet my life this station is being powered by generator. And that's the reality across the country. So I know when to believe the president. I believe the president when it is about matters that I also know to be true. For instance, if the president says today is the 6th of June, I'd believe him because I know it's the 6th of June. But when it comes to things that you have to express doubts about, I'd rather choose to doubt the president before I believe him, because of the fact that over the years, over the last 3 and 4 years, most of the things the president has said and promised never come to pass. So personally, I've learned not to believe the president.
All right, now let's take it from this. What is supposed to be the ideal response of government to the call to bring back the girls and even the outright strategic move to bring back the girls? What's supposed to be the ideal government response to this?
There is no ideal response. It depends on whatever government. It depends on the character of the government. It depends on what the government considers as benefits and as cost. For instance, what's the ideal response to negotiating with terrorists? The ideal response ordinarily would be that, according to what people say, would be that never negotiate with terrorists. And Ahmad Shakil helped to reach out to Boko Haram. They were open to negotiating. They were open to exchanging the girls for non-combatant Boko Haram members. Apparently, the president was also open to doing the deal, but he reached out to the US and the French leaders when he was in France, and they said no. But from indications, when that was happening, Americans were obviously negotiating to have their own soldier in exchange for five terrorists already in Guantanamo Bay, and that deal has been done. So you would say sometimes as a leader, as president, as a government, sometimes you don't look at the ideal. You look at the pragmatic thing to do, because the ideal is saying when everything is normal, when everything is in the right place, when everything is perfect. But that's not what it is in real life. Especially a government has to learn to be pragmatic. You don't say this is how things are done. Sometimes you have to do what you have to do. And in the case of the girls, you're looking at the cost and the benefits. The benefit we're going to have would be to have the girls back with their parents. The cost was to have non-combatant Boko Haram members with Boko Haram. And the other thing we could have done would be to exchange the girls and then launch an onslaught on Boko Haram.
Okay. We'll come back to this. Now, we have Kayode Ogundamisi on phone. Kayode, welcome to Africa Today. Now, some say the opposition and government critics are trying to take advantage of the situation of the Chibok girls for personal interest. How would you react to this?
Yeah, thanks for having me anyway. I would just say both the ruling government, the PDP, the president in itself, and everyone has been actually taking advantage. Everyone has taken advantage of the situation, be it in government or outside of government. And clearly, the opposition, are they doing enough? I would say no. Even the campaigns to bring back the girls home are not campaigns pioneered by the official opposition and government. It's pioneered by citizens who feel it's time to just act. Citizens who just feel it is not normal to have over 200 girls taken away into the forest. But beyond that, I will just say, look, we keep talking about Goodluck Jonathan. Look, Jonathan is a byproduct of the Nigerian society. We have 160 million Nigerians. And out of the 160 million, we have about 120 million in denial. So the presidency and people in government are a reflection of all the fact that even citizens, a greater percentage of citizens from particular region in the country are actually doubting the fact that these girls are missing. A number of citizens feel it's a northern problem. A number of people feel it's just a problem against Jonathan. So beyond that, we just need to think it's time to come together as a people and face the reality. We are a nation at war. And as at this moment, we are a weak nation. We are a nation state where some ragtag army are actually quite more powerful than the conventional army, which is the Nigerian army. And this is a military that has been successful outside the country. They liberated Liberia. They went to conflict areas, and they did quite well. So we just need to look inward and find a solution to the crisis facing our country.
All right. You have been listening to people what they say about what's happening in Nigeria. What's the feeling amongst people in the UK as far as this issue specifically is concerned?
I mean, coincidentally, yesterday I was at the Frontline Club, which is a club where you have foreign journalists, foreign correspondents of the major network in the UK. It was a place where we had this discussion about Boko Haram. And quite a number of people just feel it, they just see it as bizarre. First, the conflicting signal from the Nigerian government, the fact that they put out statements, they deny it, the fact that the spokesperson for the president is going to America to claim that it took America 4 years to liberate people in Tehran, forgetting the fact that Tehran is not under the control of Americans. Tehran is thousands of kilometers away from America. Chibok is a territory within the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Sambisa Forest is a territory within the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And the fact that government in itself took almost 2 weeks to actually react to the issue. So people just find it quite bizarre. They find it quite amazing that government is actually even sponsoring counter-protests against those protesting for the girls to be brought home. And there's a great love for Nigeria as it is today. People from all walks of life are mobilizing for these girls. And I think what you would expect of our government is to take advantage of this situation and rally not just the country around, rally the international community around, and just act and do something different and seek solutions from both within and outside. I heard Omojuwa saying that the issue of seeking foreign help. Look, we need whatever it takes to put this situation, arrest the situation. We are a country with a military that can actually back but not bite. Our government do not even know, our military don't even know the number of arms we have in the artillery. You know, Boko Haram are displaying more superior firepower and they get ammunition from the black market. And this is not unconnected to the corrupt situation that we find ourselves. We have over £6 billion budgeted for national security, and we can't even provide our military with the basic armory. I was watching TV with the so-called Special Elite Squad based in Maiduguri, and the bulletproof vest they have on, you can get it on eBay for $30. You know, and you wonder, and this is very heavy, you know, it was last used probably like 20 years ago. Our military contract is not open-ended. We don't negotiate. We get a middleman who would supply substandard equipment for our military.
All right, Kayode.
Issues we need to start looking at.
Yes, Kayode, we'll come back to you. Please stay on the line. Okay, now last month, the Paris Summit for Security in Nigeria see some West African leaders and foreign representatives agreeing to team up against insurgents in the region. Now, in the coming days, the United Kingdom would host a follow-up meeting on winning the fight against the Islamic sect Boko Haram. But in all of this, how soon can the abducted girls be rescued? That's the big question on the minds of every African now. We'll go on a quick break, and Africa Today continues. Stay with us. All right, the international community joined forces with the Bring Back Our Girls movement and drew the world's attention to the Chibok schoolgirls abducted. It took a storm of global protest to alert the Nigerian government on the seriousness of the situation. Now, let's come back home. You were in Abuja a few days ago. You've been with them during the protest and all of that. Now, recently, it was said that a senior police officer was trying to ban protest, as the case may be, but he was overruled eventually. But what is your reaction that in the 21st century that could even come up in the first place? The issue of banning protest in a country like Nigeria.
I think it's unfortunate that we want to have democracy and we don't want to have the consequences and realities that come with democracy. If you are under an autocratic government, it is expected that the commissioner of police would say no protest, and you would understand because that's what it is. If you go out, anything could happen to you. But under a democracy, the power that made the president is the power that allows me as a citizen, the power that allows me, that grants me the right as a citizen to say, oh, I want to express myself, maybe my anger against what the government is doing by going out to protest. So I think people like the commissioner of police in Abuja, the FCT, people like him should be taken abroad for refresher courses to understand what it means to be a police leader in the 21st century to understand what it means to be a police leader under a democracy, because it does look like a lot of people are still stuck in the military past. A lot of people do not understand that the Nigeria that we have today is a Nigeria of equal rights and opportunities, the Nigeria that even if I'm not in government, I have certain rights. It's not in Nigeria where you say you're a government person, then I have to stand up when you come in. I can decide to stand if I want to stand, and I can decide to sit. But I just think it's unfortunate that we have a democracy and people want to enjoy the privileges of democracy. They want to have cars that they don't pay for. They want to afford cars they don't pay for. They want to have house helps. They want to have all those beautiful things. But when it comes to the other side of democracy, the side of responsibility, that's when they start saying some people want to bring their government down. The side of allowing students and like the Lagos state government, for instance, allowing protesters to say, bring back our girls, that decided to start thinking, no, this is not right. If you want democracy, you have to understand that there are responsibilities. And it does appear that those that are running our country today, from the governor of Borno to the president of Nigeria to even the governor of Lagos with respect to the other issue of last office, they want the privileges of this democracy, but they are not ready to accept certain responsibilities when it comes to understanding that it's not everything that they do that citizens we accede to. There are certain situations where we don't agree, and when we don't agree, we come to the table and have a conversation. People have been sitting there in Abuja for almost 40 days. No single time have you had, say, the vice president, for instance, come and show some solidarity, because when they sit down there and say, bring back our girls, are you saying that what they are doing is wrong? Don't we want the girls back? The government, obviously, I want to understand that they want the girls back. Bring back our girls is about the girls coming back. The guys protesting in Vancouver, in New York, in UAE, in Accra, in South Africa, all over the world. For instance, the Commissioner of Information, Mr. Labaran Amaku, said 90% of those protesting are APC members. And I think that's just shameful to have somebody like that come out to say a thing like that, because if you say 90% of Bring Back Our Girls protesters are APC members, Tyrese Gibson, one of the biggest R&B stars in the world, is he an APC member? Stevie Wonder, is he an APC member? All the big men, David Cameron, is he an APC member? Aisha Sase, is she an APC member? Christian Amanpour, is she an APC member? Let's be responsible for, look, there are times when we can accept irresponsibility, when things are not so dicey. When it comes to human life, almost 300 girls, let's be responsible. Let's understand that we have a responsibility, not just as citizens, but as people that have been voted for to be responsible, as people that have been appointed to be responsible. Because this is about life and death. These girls have been there for over 53 days. Just sit down and imagine for 5 seconds or even 10 seconds. Imagine what they could be going through in the hands of murderers, irrational murderers, insane people, who could just look at one and say, I want to rape you, and nobody could do anything about it because obviously nobody is there to save them. We have to understand that, like Kayode Ogundamisi said, we have to come together to work. I don't even see the opposition presenting an alternative. At times it does look as if they are happy. They are happy to see that the government is clueless. We have to look. There should be space for politics where, like, for instance, you have elections where you have debates, you want to win. When it comes to the Chibok issue, the only win is one win, that the girls come back. And I think everybody should be ready to come on a table to get this thing done.
Okay. Now, we have Kayode online. Kayode, if you can hear me now, Now, there's a recent call by the government of Nigeria to blacklist the activities of Boko Haram, especially on the media. Do you see that as a censorship of the press?
Well, it's not a surprise. You know, these are desperate times for the Nigerian government, especially desperate times for a president that has proven to the international community that is bereft of ideas and is just groping in the dark. And when the government is bereft of ideas, groping in the dark, and sees signs and indications that citizens are empowering themselves to reclaim the mandates that rightly belong to them, they take desperate measures such as telling media houses to forward the names of people they're going to invite to live TV shows 48 hours before the broadcast. You know, these are things that Idi Amin did in Uganda and it never worked out for him. These are things that Gaddafi did and he paid dearly for it. And I just think that, you know, the signs that are coming from the Jonathan administration now, it's not surprising to people who study the situation. Not just that, they send spokesmen all over the world, not to speak about these girls or the terrorists or the situation in the country, but to sort of shine the face of the president. You know, these are desperate times. I think beyond that, the government is actually setting a dangerous pace. It will make peaceful change impossible, make violent change inevitable, in the sense that when you take away the voice of the people to democratically speak for themselves in an open environment, you drive people on the ground. But it's not also a surprise to some of us because only AK-47 speaks conveniently for the government. The government would only listen to you if you're a militant. If you have command of thugs with AK-47, then it's also a money-making venture that the more violent you are, the more contracts the more votes they can put into the security votes. And we need to just look beyond this. And as citizens, I'm quite encouraged by the activities of young Nigerians. They are taking voices away from the government back to themselves, and they are the ones telling the stories. The international media are no longer just relying on mainstream media in Nigeria. They are listening to the voices of the Nigerian in Maiduguri, the Nigerian in Akure, the Nigerian in Okwoche. And these are good signs for our democracy. So it's just something we need to act as one and see beyond the propaganda of the government and know that it is not just about these 200 missing girls. It is about the fact that we have 12,000 Nigerians killed under this administration and beyond, and this must stop.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kayode Ogundamisi, for joining us on Africa Today. Now, the protest has become a little it's taking dimensions, as the case may be, but what is supposed to be the impact of this protest on the actual activity of government helping to bring back the girls?
This is the essence of the protest. Over the years, things have happened in Nigeria where Nigerians have screamed. 255 million cars, 20 billion stolen, subsidy. Nigerians actually come out to scream. What you notice is that within maximum 2 weeks, those things that they were screaming about, they forget. Why? Because other things eventually sort of come and then take over the news. Now, what Bring Back Our Girls has done, what the physical presence of Bring Back Our Girls in Abuja has basically done is to ensure that Nigeria and Nigerians do not forget these girls. Because really and truly, if people were not going out in Abuja and other parts of the world, but especially Abuja, if people were not going out in Abuja and wearing those red clothes that they wear, Nigerians would have moved on. I'm telling you, if they were not going out in Abuja, we would not be having this conversation. We would probably be discussing the ASU fees or the Unilag thing that they just changed or some other thing. But we're still talking about it. Look, a lot of credit must go to people like Obi Ezekwesili, to Adiza Bala Usman, to Miriam Uwais and Buki Shonibari and all the other people, Rotimi, Risola, everyone involved in making sure that we continue to stay out there in Abuja. So Nigerians that are interested, because I know not every Nigerian is interested in having these girls come, because how can you be interested in having them come back if you don't believe that they've been taken in the first place? So Nigerians that are interested in having these girls come back must understand that the reason why these people stay out there is not because they think that by staying out, they would automatically somehow bring the girls back. It's a reminder to the fact that the girls have not been brought back. And if that reminder is there, then if those responsible for bringing them back, literally going to Sambisa, wherever the girls are, they would always see them and remember that this has not been done. And that's essentially what that is for. Okay. Well, let me ask you, because you're very pivotal to, you speak and so many young people across the world listen.
What's your final word on this?
My final word is this, that the president of Nigeria should understand that he is the president, is our president. He's responsible for our security. At least our constitution says so. Yeah. The governor of Borno must stop trying to pass the buck. They both have to come together and work. Then apart from that, the two major political parties, the APC and the PDP, must show Nigerians that this is their collective work on moving forward with respect to the fight against terrorism. And Nigerians must understand that when things happen to other Nigerians and it doesn't affect them, a time would come, it could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be sometime after tomorrow, that Nigeria would come to affect them and they would need other Nigerians to speak for them. If we don't speak and help ourselves and become a voice unto ourselves for ourselves together as a collective, Nigeria will continue to happen to us and people will continue to groan privately. And when Nigeria happens to you privately is when you will understand why some people that ordinarily should not be interested speak for other people.
It's all right. Japheth Omojuwa, thank you very much for coming to Africa Today.
Mine.
Thank you. And we also thank Kayode Ogundamisi for joining us from the UK. Now, since 2009, Boko Haram's campaign to create a breakaway Islamic State has accelerated, killing more than 500 people and including an estimated 1,800 this year alone. Now, the mass kidnap on the night of the April 14th sparked bold headlines worldwide, highlighting the failings of government and the military in ensuring the safety of lives and property. But meanwhile, there has also been much talk about sinister forces at work by politicians, and while only time will reveal them, steps must be taken to bring back our girls and address the issues that created Boko Haram in the first place. That's our show for today. You can watch previous episodes of the show on youtube.com/TVC Africa Today. And until we come your way again, I am Mike Okwoche. And don't forget, this is Africa. Bye for now.